Mhm. Get back to the Zoom. Nope. Nope. Back to the Zoom.
I think you have to do share screen there. And then there, yeah.
But that's taking me here. I think it's right. Try that one.
Okay, let's get this closer.
Should I take this off for now?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I want to keep it on and allow them in?
We do with them. We tell them to go on mute after.
They're muted.
Okay.
Do it.
Sure. What is up, guys?
All right.
Put it fully open with all of them on screen. There we go.
Hey,
There's Robin.
Hey, hi guys.
All
I can
right.
see you guys. I'm trying to see. Can you see me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see you. We have some people that haven't joined on video yet, and then so you only have it looking at one person, D.
Okay.
You're good, Robin.
Thank you.
We're going through we've done this with multiple people. We haven't done it when we have like tons of people. So
yeah, we're gonna see what happens.
How exciting.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, what?
Is it? I see Jess on here. Hey, Joy.
Joy's crushing it, man.
Yes,
She's
she
lost
is.
100 and crazy amount of pounds.
Goodness.
Thank you. Journey's not over yet.
Journey's never over.
No,
That's right. It's never over. I was just going to say that.
that's just, we're so proud of you. It's unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're
Steve
gonna
is wonderful.
pull
people are popping on here, so we're gonna.
Let's see. We got Jason in here. Mark Swanson. Love that guy. Richard and Ingrid. Awesome. Oh, Tisha's here.
Uh-oh.
Party's just started.
Already got the party's here. Paula, hi Paula. Amy, hi guys. Hey Jason.
So we're gonna wait and get some more people on here, and then we will start and kind of go into a really amazing topic that we've just came together with From Pain to Purpose. And I think all of us can kind of attest to that sort of journey in our life multiple times. And so we're gonna really dive deep into that tonight.
Yeah, I'd love for you guys to put your cameras on if you will, so I can see your faces. There she is.
Yeah.
Look at you, Paula.
Oh, there's Tisha.
Oh, there's Tisha. Yep. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. There's trouble right there.
This is so funny because like Facebook with Paula and with, let's see, Tisha, like my Facebook is like, these are people you may know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
That's cool.
Tisha, Paul, so Robin is a trainer at Hitch Fit, and she's just done an amazing job. I hope you guys like Tisha, you got to come out sometime to Kansas City and just see the gym. And do you know Julie Johnson and Blake? Do you know Julie Johnson?
Yes.
So she came through Kansas City today. She was at the gym today. So it was a lot
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. Why can't I just live there?
Oh,
In the gym?
Marcus.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
there's Marcus.
What's up, folks? Nice to see your beautiful faces.
This is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, it's good to see your face. We have so much catching up to do, Marcus, in just like 1 week time, what God has been doing. Holy smokes, man.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, and you're an unexpected special guest. I'm excited you're here. This is a special treat. We've got a whole bunch of people still popping on here, so I'm gonna just
Cool.
let's just, if you guys just give me a minute, so we'll get a couple more people in here before we get things started. Oh, there's Shar. Oh, they're coming in hot. Coming in hot. Yeah, it's so good. Paula, I've like never actually seen you like your face like face to face before.
I know, look at her smile. She's like beaming.
I mean, I love it. So Paula's had an absolutely unbelievable transformation journey too. All online. So we've never met in person, and I've never even actually like seen you. Like, I mean, obviously pictures and videos, but it's so good to see you live in real time.
Anthony, what's up, brother? So he just started his journey, his Hitch Fit journey, and
Awesome.
I met him through a Chris Crone show, actually. So yeah, and we were just with Chris like just Monday and the whole weekend. So yeah, man, I'm really excited about your journey, man, and see you go through this process. So many people here have gone through that process, and it's game changing. So I'm excited for you.
Richard and Ingrid, where are you guys? Where are you guys from? They got their
Well,
mute
I
on.
had to get
There you
the
go.
microphone. I had to get the microphone unmuted.
There you go. We figured it out.
Where are we from? We're from Shreveport, Louisiana. We're sitting in Arlington, Virginia right now.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
okay.
That's cool.
Awesome.
And it's still sunlight.
It's still sunlight.
Yeah, it's dark.
No, it's dark outside.
Oh,
Oh.
he's got one of those awesome backgrounds on.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, we got Amy's here and Charlotte. And
Oh, we got Mark Swanson. That guy got ripped.
you guys got to put your video on. I want to see your faces. No hiding. I want to see your faces. Jason, put that video on. I wanna
Oh,
see you.
we love it. That guy's lost. I think he's at like 120 down now. Like crazy.
Yeah,
like,
that's
too.
amazing.
That's so cool.
Amy, hi. Shar, I don't know if she's actually on here. Steph, hi, Steph.
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh, what's going on, Steph?
Oh,
Oh, nothing. And I just got off. I just got done working, so I'm still in my office. But yeah, thanks for having me.
We're
oh,
thankful you're
we're
here.
glad you're here. This is good. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, you guys are gonna this. So we've actually, crazy enough, we've actually never done a webinar. Like we've done so many podcasts and we've done all this stuff. So we're like, this is new territory.
So we're
That's
gonna do
cool.
everything we can to not have glitches, but just be prepared for a few if it happens. But we'll run with the punches and make it as most impactful as possible for you guys.
All right, we're gonna we'll get things started here, because we want to be mindful of everybody's time, and just as people keep joining us, I'll keep letting them in and joining. But we've got a lot of really awesome content and material and some strategies for you guys that we want to go over, and we want to make sure that we have time to go over everything. And we also we want to have some time to do a little Q&A for those of you who want to stick around towards the end. So if you have questions along the way, or if something comes up that you want to share with us or ask, if you could just kind of hold those till the end, and we're gonna do a little, we'll stick around and do a little bit of Q&A with you guys too. So
Q&A and a bonus at the end.
and bonus. Yep.
I mean, everyone bonuses.
We've got bonus.
It's not an infomercial, but wait, there's more.
That's cool.
So yes, we've got some bonuses and stuff for you at the end. So so welcome everyone. My name is Diana Shalou Lacert. This is Michael Lacert. If you guys don't know who we are, you want to give a little introduction?
So we've been in the fitness game for multiple decades now. We get the great privilege of waking up every day and really with a purpose-driven life of impacting other people's lives. And it's where we're driven from our faith to our fitness, and just really trying to help people become the best versions of themselves every single day. There's a lot of there's a lot of weight of doing that and carrying that load, but boy, there's a lot of joy in it as well. And so we just try to spread that message to others of health and happiness, and really bringing it all together so that you guys can then make an impact in other people's lives.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to turn your pain to purpose. And so we have 3 strategies that are designed to help you break through in whatever area that may be, so that we all want more. We all want to be able to live our best life. So when we sat down and thought of like, what are the 3 things that we really wanted people to know that could be really useful for them as they're thinking about breakthroughs, and so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And Mike is going to get us started.
Yeah, so I want to bring you back to my 18-year-old self. I'm dealing with a lot of insecurity. I'm struggling with a gripping amount of anxiety. There was a lot of darkness in my life. And a lot of you guys can attest to some point in your life of also struggling like that. I just really had lost all hope. And a lot of that had to do with the first 18 years of my life. I was raised in a single parent family. My mom struggling to get by. We moved 30 times in 18 years, went through a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. And as a child, you don't understand it. You don't get it. You're just like, you know, I want to be happy. I want to go out and play. I want to do all of those things. And I tried to continue to have that in my life. But the reality of it is we had just gone through so much that I had a lot of brokenness. I had a lot of scar tissue, and ultimately I was really struggling to figure out how in the world I was going to go forward. And I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anyone really there to help guide me into the direction that ultimately I was feeling inside of me being called to go and follow, which was ultimately I wanted to find happiness. I wanted to one day meet a beautiful woman and get married and have a family that I didn't have. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be able to give back. But I'm in like this such a dark place that like there's no light in that. And so I'm sitting there at 18 and I'm going to college, and I'm like what am I going to do with my life, and how am I going to get there? And ultimately what ended up happening was a huge shift in me happened. Because remember, like I have that desire in me, but I don't have direction. I got all this pain, but I want to have a purpose. And I'm just trying to, like, I'm asking people and whatnot, but growing up as a young man, like we're in this situation too, where I don't want to talk about a lot of the stuff that I had gone through because it may look like weakness. It may look like like I need to man up and I can't be emotional and I can't share any of that stuff. And it's a massive struggle. And I know a lot of women struggle with that too. And so I'm just really lost at this particular point. And then my life took a massive shift. And ultimately that's what we're going to get into tonight, of how to really go through those storms and those challenges, those setbacks, those valleys, regardless if it was in your younger self or if you're going through it right now, and really how to get out of that and get to that peak of a mountain that you can see ultimately and bring some light back into your life. Essentially going from pain to purpose.
Yeah, and when we think about pain, I think it's really natural as human beings. It's natural for us to want to avoid pain. It's natural to want to run away from it. Whether that's emotional pain, you know, if you've gone through trauma, if you've gone through abuse, if you've gone through those things, a lot of times it seems too hard to be able to take a look at it and to see how it may be, you know, that those things you've gone through that you haven't gone through a healing process with yet, how those things are holding you back. It may be physical fitness. It may be the fear of the pain of working out. You're going to be sore. The muscles are going to be torn down. And so some people are fearful of that pain that comes when you go through a workout. It may be in your business. Maybe it's the fear of the pain of making a choice that might lead to failure. So you just never take the steps and you never progress forward because of the potential pain of that failure or that choice. So I think it's very normal for us all to want to run, turn from the pain, like not deal with it. But the thing is that the breakthroughs that we are wanting in our lives are actually on the other side of that pain. So the only way that we actually get to the breakthrough is if we actually face that pain and we turn into it. So kind of our first strategy that we wanted to talk about tonight, I actually have slides too, and I'm attempting.
We're shooting too high for the first webinar here. This is scary territory, but
I am
just like
attempting.
pain to purpose, we're going to dive right into
We're
it like a
doing it.
bison goes through a storm.
So the first thing that we wanted to talk about as your first strategy is finding your hot spots. And so what I mean by a hot spot, so when you work out, you get knots. You get sometimes they're called trigger points. So if you are an exercise person, you know what I'm talking about. Like Micah gets these, it's a ball of the muscle turns into a ball basically, and the tissues can turn into a ball and they hurt. So it's like it's this hot spot that we have, and they're called trigger points. And like Micah, he'll get one right here, and he's like, "Get your elbow."
We'll be at the airport, and I'm
Dig
like,
into
"Dude,
that.
just dig into it." And people are like looking at it, it's like, "What's going on?"
So they're tight areas. They're areas of irritation. And so when you have one of these hot spots, a lot of times you'll get them maybe in your shoulder, or maybe it's in your hip, or your glutes, or something like that. But what happens is it restricts your range of motion. You're not able to be as flexible. It's this pain point that is actually yeah, it's holding you back from being able to be as strong. So sometimes I'll get knots here in my shoulder. I can't press as much as I normally would be able to when I don't have that hot spot. So how do we get rid of hot spots? So I have this foam roller upstairs. I should have brought it, but it's a foam roller, but it also has these really hard plastic knobs on it. And so when I have a hot spot in my back, I have to get down on the ground and I find the hot spot and I literally dig into it, because that's how to release it. So the only way to get rid of that hot spot is literally taking that thing and digging into it. And it's going to hurt when you dig in, but that's how it releases. And that's how I'm going to be able to actually release that tension and eliminate that pain, is by digging into it and pushing into it. And then I'm going to have my range of motion back. And then I'm going to have my best flexibility, and I'm going to have my best strength. So when I'm thinking of pain in our lives, that's what I think of as like, where are those hot spots for you? So the first step is like figuring out, what are your hot spots? Where is the pain point that you have not yet dug into? And and sometimes those look a little different, like with the pain and the trauma stuff. A lot of times that's a lot of people's fitness journeys. There's hot spots of things that they haven't dealt with in their past, and the way that they're coping with those things is through food or through hiding their, hiding their bodies, just using that as how they're coping with it, and which is kind of a form of running away from it rather than doing that work and kind of turning and digging into it.
We can go into relationships wise. I mean, the trauma that comes out of relationships. I was a child who went through seeing multiple divorces and the trauma that's left after that. And so it's why it's so important to me from a family standpoint that when I grew up, I was going to be with the right woman and be the man that I needed to be for her. And when you look at relationships, and we've all gone through really tough breakups and what that does to you, like if you don't go through getting through the healing side of that, a lot of times you're then carrying that over into new relationships, and you have your guard up, you don't trust, you're dealing with this trauma stuff, and then you're not able to be who you need to be for that person, and vice versa. And so we're talking fitness, relationships, it goes across the board when it comes to pain and it comes to trauma.
Yeah, so that would be my first thing, is just really taking a look at your life in those aspects, and figuring out what those hot spots are for you. And it could be relationship, it could be fitness, it could be just that healing the work that needs to be done. For some people, it may actually not be like, we talk about trauma, about abuse, about grief, that kind of thing. And for some people, it's not that they were the victim or the one who something was done to, but it can be because maybe you did something to someone else, and you're carrying a lot of guilt and a lot of shame because of that. So there's that side of it too, of it's not just something that was done to you. It may be something that you did that you are having a hard time forgiving yourself for, or for moving past those feelings of guilt or those feelings of unworthiness, that because of, you don't feel that you deserve forgiveness or grace or those type of things. So strategy number one for how to turn your pain into purpose is taking a look at your life and figuring out what are those trigger points and what are those hot spots for you. And it may be one thing, and it also may be multiple things in multiple facets of your life, but we first have to identify them, and we have to take a look at them and be honest about what they are.
You just can't carry around shame, guilt, all the things that hold us back. You got to get through that. So many people are living in bondage of things that happened to them in the past or things that they did in the past. Forgiveness and a lot of things come into play so that you can heal that scar tissue that you have built up, and then essentially rebuild what we call in fitness world muscle, and rebuild that and repair that and fix that hot spot.
Yeah. Okay, so that is strategy number one. And we're going to jump right into, I'm sharing my screen again. I'm trying it. That was number one. And our strategy number two, did this one for Micah. End fear of fumbling.
Oh, so I just love storytelling. And so when I think about different strategies when it comes to this, and I think of the word fumbling, I think of football. And I love the Kansas City Chiefs, which if you guys follow me, you know that. This season has been really interesting for the Chiefs. Although we have a good record, what they've done on the field, at least from an offensive standpoint, has been a lot of turnovers, way more than we're used to, fumbling the ball and interceptions and whatnot. And so as you bring that into, a strategy too of essentially fumbling or not being able to dig through that fear, think about the choices that you make each and every day. Right? And how many choices or things or goals or whatnot that you have in your life have you not accomplished due to the fact that you're so scared of failure? Like you're so scared. The fear of failure's got to be one of the top things, like of people not accomplishing things or change in their life. And I would just say, just you gotta dig through it, much like getting through that storm and whatnot, and take that first step and that leap into that unknown area or that change. And it will be a challenge, but and along the way, it's okay if you fumble the ball. Like, you can still win the game. And I just encourage you guys to really just dive into to being okay with ultimately, you know, the change that comes into your life, because it's inevitable. It's gonna happen, you know.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that holds people back the most from like being able to truly step into their purpose is that fear of making a mistake. So I think it's like, let's just get over that, like, because you're going to make a mistake. So I think it's, and making mistakes is a good thing. And even on fitness journeys, sometimes people have this all or nothing mentality. And, you know, okay, well, I screwed up. So now I just might as well throw the towel in on everything. And when you have that mentality, you're never really going to get to where you ultimately want to be. So it's, every time there's something, you know, you can call it a mistake, you can call it a fumble, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But whenever we have those, I always think of them as learning opportunities, and it's a growth opportunity. And so if you look at it as that, it's much more empowering than beating yourself up over a mistake. But we have to get over this fear of, I'm afraid to take any type of action. I'm afraid to take any type of step because I might make a mistake. So you're going to make a mistake. And like, you know, we've thought of the Chiefs because it's like, you know, you think of a Broncos chart.
It was a terrible game.
Boo, boo. But in a football game, the teams fumble, right? So there could be a game where you have a lot of fumbles and they still win the game. And even if they don't win the game, like, they don't just go, like, they use those things they go back and they watch the tape and they figure out, like, what can I do better? What can I do for a better strategy so that this doesn't happen again? So if that's what we would do in our lives, of like, instead of making a mistake and I'm terrible and I can't do this, like, just take a look at it and be like, okay, this happened and this wasn't the outcome that I was hoping for. So how could I do this differently the next time that this situation comes up? You know, so that I can be successful the next time, but I can learn from this. I can learn that, like, maybe this was a trigger for me, or this was too much for me mentally where I'm at right now to be in this environment and still make good choices. So it's like, just always, if we could just look at those as learning opportunities. In business, we literally would not have had Hitch Fit for the last 15 years if we were afraid of making mistakes. Like, we have made, I don't even know how many mistakes we we have made a lot of mistakes, but every single time that we make a mistake, we learn something new. We learn something about our business. We learn something about the mission and the vision that we want to step forward into. And every mistake we've made, I always think it's like, if we made a choice and we're like, that didn't work out, that didn't go where we wanted to go, at least now I know that's not where I want to go. You know, it was never wasted, and you always learn something, or you always meet someone, or you always can pick up some kind of skill or something about life. So that would be just number 2, is like, let's just stop and just get over this fear of making mistakes.
So just look at your life before we move on to strategy 3, and look at the pillars of your life. Look at your health, look at your faith, look at your finances, your business, whatever that may be you do for work, and then look at your relationships. Like, look at those things and really break down. I'm sure that 1 or 2 of those pillars you do really, really well, right? Like, I work really hard, but the issue with that is I focus so much on money that I'm not then taking care of my wife and my family, you know, and I'm so scared that I'm going to let them down, that unfortunately I'm letting them down by working as much as I'm working. And so I would just encourage you guys to look at, you know, those pillars of your life and really try to get as much balance as you can with those things. So if you have some deficiencies, like, don't be scared to dive into it, you know, and really try to get that balanced out.
Yeah, and I think even, like, you know, we work with a lot of people on their fitness transformation journeys, and it's just like, if it takes a year or 2 years or 3 years to get there, like, that's okay too. You know, it's if something, you know, we work a lot of times with, okay, we're going to do this in 12 or 16 weeks. If it doesn't happen in 12 or 16 weeks, really just supposed to be the very beginning part of this journey. Like Joy, I know, could attest to that. I know she's been on her journey a long time. Paula is one has been on a journey for like a long time. And so it's like, I just think just not being fearful of stepping in, not being fearful of if it takes longer than you thought it was going to take to get there. And just not being afraid to just take action and learn from it. And every single time that you make a mistake, you're going to get stronger.
And Shar, the 4 pillars are your fitness, your faith, the finances, or your work, and your relationship.
Good. Okay. Strategy 3. Okay, sharing screen again. Yes. I don't know. I'll figure out how to do this even better. Okay, number 3 is choose your tools wisely. Okay, so what I wanted to share about this. So gardening is not my zone of genius.
It's not.
I would just say not my zone of genius. In fact, I just let weeds grow this year because I read a sign that said that helps the bees. So that's my excuse. But
yeah, that's an
okay,
excuse.
we're going with that. We're going with that. So I'm not great at gardening, but I do have gardening tools, right? I have pruning shears, and so I have rose bushes. So I can use those tools for my rose bushes. I can prune things back so that I will get more fruit on my rose bushes. So that is an excellent tool for bushes and for the roses and that type of thing. But if I took my pruning shears and I used those for weeding, and I just went out into my garden and just took my pruning shears and just pruned the tops off of all of the weeds, that probably would not be super effective. Yeah, you guys are all on mute, but I know that you're all gonna. What's gonna happen if I just chop the tops off of the weeds? They're gonna grow back. So when I'm looking at weeds and I need to dig into the roots, if I don't want those things to come back, I need a different tool. So I have to go back in and figure out what that is. And I would say it's good. I need a trowel, or I need a shovel. I need something that I can actually dig down into that and I can pull the root up. So I think what we're doing a lot in our lives is we have these hot spots, or we have these weeds, or we have these obstacles or challenges. And sometimes we are just using the wrong tools to tackle these things. So if we're thinking of this in a fitness sense, a lot of people will try to use, let's say you're trying to lose weight. So some people will use the tool of a fad diet, or something that's going to be a quick loss, or some of the drugs that is just like, you don't have to do anything or change habits or mindsets or anything, just take this drug or just do this diet for a while. So that's kind of like me taking my pruning shears and just chopping the tops off of the weeds. The root is still there. The issues, the negative, the limiting beliefs, the negative mindsets, the bad habits, all of those things are still there. Those roots are still there. So as soon as the diet's done, or you're done taking the medication or whatever, you're going to go right back to your starting point. There's not going to be an actual true transformation. Craig Rochelle says, he's a pastor, and one of the things that he says is that behavior modification without a heart transformation will always lead you back to your starting point. So if you don't dig down and you don't get those roots out, then whatever that behavior is going to come right back. When I'm thinking of trauma, abuse, and grief, sometimes people use the tool of distraction. And that distraction might come in the form of food. It might come in the form of sex. It might come in the form of just relationships, like jumping in and clinging to someone new. It might come in the form of addictions, alcohol or drugs. And so that's the tool that they're using to try to, dull that pain. But it's not going to work for the long term because you didn't do the work, the healing work that needed to happen to dig into that root.
And for me, it personally was, I'm dealing with this pain, this trauma. For me, it wasn't any of those. It wasn't drugs or alcohol, sex, any of that. For me, it was overworking. And it was trying to as many accomplishments as possible to literally kind of compensate for the pain that I was struggling with. And so, you know, I know a lot of people attest to that too. They just stay so busy that their minds are like never thinking about that. The issue with it is it's still there. That root of that issue is still there. And so it at some point will come out and manifest in some way that's not good. People then start getting into depression. Some anxiety starts seeping through, even worse, suicidal thoughts. That ends up coming through if those, you know, if those pains aren't really taken care of properly.
Yeah, and I think that there's some of the things that is distraction is another one of just busyness. Sometimes people use busyness as a thing that's like their coping and their way of trying to, you know, just ignore a hot spot, ignore a pain point. It could apply to business too, or even your finances. Like if someone has a goal of I want to grow wealth, or I want to grow legacy, but you know, they've just got their money sitting in the bank account, not earning any interest or barely any interest, they're probably not going to get there. So there's different tools of being able to grow wealth financially too. So that's kind of strategy number 3 is like, whatever those pain points are for you, next thing to look at is, what are the tools that you're using to tackle those? Or are you using any tools, or the tools that you're using are actually completely not doing anything and they're just kind of chopping the heads off of the weeds temporarily? So with that being said, we wanted to share just briefly what we believe are the 2 most powerful tools that you can use really regardless of what the issue is, whether it's relationship or whether it is your physical fitness and the mindset and your relationship with the gift that you have in your body. So the number 1 tool that I believe is the most important foundationally is our faith. I believe that it's our most powerful tool, as far as we want tools that can literally demolish. I'm not talking about, you know, tools that can just like go up and tap, 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 like literally tools that can demolish the walls. If we think of breaking through, I think of these things, these challenges, these hotspots, it's like a wall. And if I go up to the wall and I've got I've got my little hammer and I'm like, tap, 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 you know, maybe I'll get a little bit of chips to come off of the wall.
That would take a long time.
But if I want to like bust through the wall, like I literally need a wrecking ball. I need wrecking ball type tools. And faith is one of those wrecking ball type tools. And I know you're all thinking of like Miley Cyrus swinging around now, but that's
now I'm thinking of Miley Cyrus.
Now we're thinking of Miley Cyrus on the wrecking ball. But I believe faith is one of those wrecking ball tools, because the strength that comes from our relationship with the Lord is that the things that we can't do, the things that are too hard for us to turn into, he can give us that strength, and he gives us all of the things that we need to be able to turn into. So that is number 1 wrecking ball tool.
And the second one would be fitness. And to go back on my initial story, at age 18, I'm having all the darkness, the pain, everything that's going on. Fitness is what ultimately, I mean, my faith, I had turned my eyes away from the Lord at that particular point, but God gave me the tool of fitness, and I found fitness. And within weeks of starting my own fitness journey at the age of 18 and 138 pounds, I'm like, something starts changing with my mind. And I'm working out, and ultimately I'm 18 years old. So I'm like, if I get a buff body, then more girls will like me, and I'm going to look like the guys on covers of magazines. But ultimately, what I really needed was a mental change and a transformation of how I was feeling inside. And fitness came in and was that tool for me. The disciplines within fitness, how I was eating, what it does to your mental state. And, you know, recently there's so much science out there now. There's a recent study that they did over in Australia. It was in the British Sports Journal as well. 127,000 people were on this study that they studied for years, and they found that exercise was 1.5 times more effective for anxiety and depression than any medication and any counseling. Now, we're not knocking counseling because I think it's very important to talk out trauma and issues, but man, what a powerful tool. And then recently we end up finding out, and I get really nerdy about this because I love it. So God was like really nerdy when he created our bodies, and he essentially made a pharmacy within our muscles. And so it's why I talk about flexing and smiling all the time, because they're directly connected. So ultimately, there's something in the muscle fiber called a myokine. And myokines is a compound that when you contract the muscle, it is released into the bloodstream, goes through the brain barrier, and acts as an anti-anxiety, antidepressant. But the only way to get it to be released is actual contraction of the muscle through a workout. And so it's just like that level. I'm like, wow, like it is the best high in the world. And when you start associating fitness with something that is literally a fountain of youth for yourself and a daily high, but most people connect fitness to pain, but this pain is actually something you want to inflict on yourself daily.
Yeah, so it's really powerful stuff. And I think when you combine those two things, when you combine your faith and that solid foundation with the fitness and everything that comes with that, like those are, I can't tell you of two more powerful tools that you can use for breakthroughs in your life. So when we are, so some of you have been on retreats with us, and when we have with SoulFit, we call them faith and fitness retreats, and we call them the conference that we have coming up is called a faith and fitness conference. And that is why, is because if I'm going to help people with a breakthrough in their lives, I have to have those wrecking ball tools. And so that's why those two tools are the foundational pieces of everything that we do with with SoulFit and with both the retreats and with the conference. And so that is the foundational piece of where that's coming from. And the conference that we have coming up in January, it's January 26th to 28th in Tampa. And it's called Lean In and Level Up. And the whole point of that is to be able to provide those faith and fitness based tools so that we can take a look at those aspects of our lives, of our faith, our fitness, our relationships, our finances, our business, and areas of personal development. Where do you want more? Like, where do you want to level up? And what tools are you going to use to get there? Because if we're using the fluffy tools, if we're using the little hammer and we're going up to the wall and going tap, 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 then we're not going to get through. So the whole point is like the wrecking ball level tools. That's what we're going for. And that's why we wanted to share with you a little bit about the conference too, and just invite you to be there with us, because it's different. This is awesome to be able to be here and to see you guys' faces and just be able to share a little bit in this really brief time that we have. But the whole point of that is to be able to have a time and a place where we come together and we can look you in the face and we can look you in the eye and we can see like what is going on here and what do we need to do to bust through these walls so that you can have that next level and that breakthrough experience. And I know a couple of you are on here that were just in Asheville with us recently and got to see like what that experience is. A little different than what we'll do at the conference, but just how powerful that is when we are together and we can connect. And we just believe it's like we need connection and we need that empowerment and that community now more than we have ever needed it in our lifetimes, to be honest. There is just, we need each other and we need that support and that accountability. So that being said, we've still got a little bit more for you, but we have bonuses.
Oh, watch out.
Okay, I mean, so for you guys for coming on here tonight and being a part of this and giving us your grace for our very first webinar. We have a couple things here we're going to share, and then we're moving on to we're going to do some Q&A here in a minute too. But all right, sharing screen again. So any of you who would like to come to Tampa and go to Lean and Level Up conference, we've created a coupon code that is for $175 off of any of the ticket levels. There's 3 ticket levels. There's general admission, there is VIP seating, and then we have a VIP plus experience ticket. And that one is most of the tickets, it's going to be that Friday night. This conference will be that Friday night, January 26th. It'll be all day Saturday, January 27th. We've got the morning, we've got breakouts in the afternoon, and then we've got evening. And then for the VIP plus experience tickets, that is also a special extra event that's happening on the Sunday morning, where we are actually taking those people over to the gym, and we are going to actually workout. And you can be any fitness level to do this. We will be able to work with whoever wants to participate with that in that with us. So it's not like I'm not in good enough shape. You can totally do it. Again, those people who've been on the retreats, you know that we can modify and help with whatever. So it's not just us speaking. As you can see, I got the little poster here. We have an amazing team of speakers, and Marcus, we didn't even know he was going to be on here. Bonus. But Marcus is fantastic. He is just our family. He is so full of amazing wisdom and insight, and has just such good value that he's going to be bringing and just helping people with the breakthrough pieces. But as you can see, we have just an incredible lineup of people that are going to be helping us lean into the trauma and the abuse and grief and the pains and the business pains and financial, all of these things, and helping to provide us the faith and fitness based tools. So you don't just get them from us. We'll give you what we think they are, but they all have theirs too that they have used in that faith and fitness realm, and they're going to be sharing those so that we can all do this together. So the coupon code for that is purpose, and I'll put the link. It's at soulfitretreats.com is where you can get the tickets, but I'll put it in there. But it's for 48 hours only. So $175 off is the absolute best ticket price that we have. And but it'll only be there for 48 hours. So you have to get your tickets within the next 48 hours. And dun, 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 bonus too. So this is actually something we've never ever offered.
We've never done it.
We've never offered a group coaching call that is with Micah and I, where we're actually connecting with the people that are on the call and listening and helping them personally and specifically digging in. So that is really something that only our one-on-one clients, the people that are coming into the gyms and have that one-on-one, like really intentional time with us, that's really only something those people.
But even there, we're just torturing them, and they can barely breathe and listen to what we're saying. So it's a little different too. Like this is up close and personal.
That, or if you're on the retreats with us, because on the retreats, we also get to like really spend a lot of that quality time with people. So those are the bonuses. We really, really would love you guys to be at Lean and Level Up with us. That the coupon code is purpose, 175 off. And then anybody that signs up for that in the next 48 hours is also going to be part of the group.
And we'll shoot you over an email and get a date and time too. So you guys can be a part of that. What we want to go into next is kind of a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, I'd first actually like to start. Marcus, if you're here, just to, at some point we're going to have you on one of these pain to purpose webinars, just so people get to know you that don't know you, because you're just one of my favorite human beings in the world. And ultimately I'd love to just to hear from you real quick, and chat with these folks. You want to move him over and unmute him?
He can
Okay.
he can unmute it.
If he's here. Marcus may have left. Well, what I'll tell you is Marcus is an amazing human being. He's gonna be one of the keynote speakers. And for those of you that went to Mexico last year, if there's anybody that did, man, this man just pours into people's lives, and his pain story is just we were one of the very first to read his new book, his first edit of his book, and wow, it's going to come out soon, but really powerful story. And he's going to share some details. And what God has kind of done is he's really built a team of like 13 that have these amazing stories, that have found success, that have gotten to their mountaintop and looking to kind of climb new mountains in their lives, and really pour into others and make impact. So it's really beautiful thing.
Yeah. So yeah, so I mean, we'll do another call too where Marcus will come on
Yep.
and be able to
Yep.
share too. But do you guys have anybody have a question or something that they would like to share? Anything that's coming up? I can't see all of you on here. Yeah, Shar, go ahead. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you are.
All right, perfect. Hey, thank you so much, man. Everyone give him a round of applause. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. My question centers around the relationship between the two of you and how you have worked and grown that over time. How do you, or what tools do you use? Because I have a talk around tools as well. So I loved your analogy about tools. What do you use to address whatever issue or concern, or maybe just something that, a little obstacle that's coming, so that you don't elevate the negative emotion in each other, but can actually address what it is and put a strategy together and both of you feel heard and valued by one another and still get through to the other side?
I do a lot of that. I'll let her answer the rest.
Well, I would say like those two tools that we just talked about, faith is the foundation of our relationship. And that was when we first met, and I knew that Micah was someone I mean that I was like, oh, like I think he might be the one. But it was one of the very first questions that I asked him, because I had made a commitment in my life that I was never even going to date somebody that wasn't on the same page as me faith-wise, just because I had before, and it never ended well. And it was always, sometimes you go into relationships thinking, oh, they'll change, or like, but and sometimes that does happen. But for me, just from my past experiences, that was a deal breaker for me. And so I asked him, and it was a little awkward because we really had just met, and we were in Las Vegas at the Olympia with all the fitness people. And I'm like, hey, do you know Jesus? So I would say just having that as our foundation is a game changer for our marriage, for our communication. Like, we're not big like fighters, but we are also together all the time. We run all our businesses together. So we obviously are like, there's things that we're like we get annoyed with just because you're with the person all of the time. But there's a safety in our communication just because our faith is foundational. So it's like, if I'm feeling upset and I don't have this fear of he's gonna leave or he's gonna, it's like I feel safe to express those things, knowing that my relationship is safe, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of people, without just that foundation of like, this is my person, we are united with God as our center. And so if I'm having a bad day, and not that it's okay to just to like blah, 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 but sometimes it happens, but I can do that knowing that my relationship is a safe place, and knowing that even if I get upset and I like to hold on to it a little, like I want to just stew in it.
And then I just hold on to you.
So it's like, no, he's like, no, get over it. I'm like, no, I just let me hold on to this for just a little bit. But he's very good at like, he forces me with that, like he, tries to make me laugh or comes over and hugs me until I stop, pouting and stuff. And it's a good thing he does that, because I'm just my personality. I might hold it on to it a little bit longer than I usually do. But so I would say that's, and then fitness, of course, that helps us with so much of the stress management, with our mental health, with our physical intimacy, just being, I want to take care of my body for me, but I also know that my partner deserves someone that is taking care of their body too. And and because I'm confident in my body, that helps us. And he is obviously is as well, like, you know, that actually pours into just our intimacy and our relationship too, which I think that's what comes between a lot of couples too. As far as, you know, a lot of divorces and stuff happen when there is just a lack of intimacy or that separation. We're supposed to have that intimacy when we're married. So
and real quick, some bonus items, because we've heard use the word bonus a few times here. We never go to bed angry at one another. We take
Amen.
care of the situation. I don't want anything that interferes with my sleep. She is the exact same way. What happened yesterday needs to be taken care of, and we move on. And we're almost forced to do that too, because we're with each other like 24 hours a day most of the time, but we still get our own time too. We were with Chris Crone this weekend, and he actually asked her, he said, how much time do you want to spend with Micah per day? Because sometimes like couples don't know that, you know, like one guy goes, man, 30 minutes a day, that would be great. And the wife really needs 3 or 4 hours. And she thought about it for a while, and she said, what she said, 6 or 7 hours a day I want with my husband. And Chris later, when we did the podcast, was like, dude, I was actually really blown away by that number, because most people's number is an hour to 2 hours a day at the most. And our love language is very much time. We don't want stuff from one another. We want experiences together. We want to go impact people's lives together. We enjoy that. And so for us to be healthy, to be fit, faithfully fit, lifting each other up, that's what we preach, and that's what we do.
I love that. Thank you so much.
thanks for asking. All right, anybody got any questions? What you guys got? Anybody got anything? Tisha, what do you got? I know you got something.
Always have something. I just wanted to make a comment that I loved your strategy too, that point that you made about fear, because for some reason I have been digging into fear and weakness, and I've been studying it, and some, you know, crazy couple torture chamber has me up doing cardio at like 4:30 in the morning every day. And so I started listening to videos and studying different things here, and you are just right on point. What I've learned is whatever your weakness is, your biggest fear, you dive straight head first into it as hard as you can go, because that's where your growth is. And it's just awesome that you guys are just reaffirming that. I mean, it's in my face lately.
Yeah, and I think just adding to that it's probably going to hurt. It's probably going to be a little painful. You know, it's just like we're saying, those hot spots, that triggers, those are representative of fear and of pain too. And when you dig into it, like it's probably going to hurt, but it probably won't hurt as bad as you thought it was. And it's that digging in that is going to actually help to release it. I always think of fear like, if I'm afraid of doing something, I do it, because then I'm not afraid of doing it anymore. So for me, fear has always been this thing of, okay, that scares me, so actually that means like I actually need to go do that, because I don't want to be afraid of it, and so I'm going to actually go do it, and then it doesn't have control over me anymore.
Wrecking ball.
Wrecking ball.
Well, mine is public speaking. I can tell you right now, I'm going to need it. I have to do it. And it is just, and so after all of the, and it's probably coming up because of this stuff. So, and all this study. So I'm probably going to have to sign myself up to all kinds of stuff and just take a trash can up with me and hope for the best.
Well, now that we know that, we're then going to put you on stages.
All right.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
And off goes my camera.
Yeah. But you know what? It's honestly, that's one of those things that, again, it's like the exposure to fear is how you get over it. So when you start speaking on stages, it's the exposure, like you just are not it's not that you don't get some level of excitement and stuff every time you do it, but it's not that same gripping fear the more that you do it, you know. So it's just like working out. Someone starts working out and like initially they're afraid of it or they're intimidated by the gym, but the more they're exposed to it, then they just get to a point where they literally walk in and they own the place and they don't have to worry about, oh, this person's looking at me or whatever. So it's just whatever those fears are, just like that, just jump in, just dive in and do it.
It starts becoming like a positive energy instead of a negative one. Like when we're like, oh, something we really fear, it's like this anxious feeling in our gut and we can't breathe and constricted. And then once it becomes like something that you're, you know, that you look at as a positive, then it's like you want more of it. Because like that first time you get on stage, you're so terrified. You're like, everybody's looking at me and I'm being judged and I'm going to mess up and whatnot. And then you get a standing ovation or these claps. And then you're like, oh man, I want to do that again, you know, because you delivered it. Like you've been working hard on that speech and you know, and even if you fumble a little bit, who cares? Like you got to get to the point. And one of the most challenging things I think as a human, this is one of the most challenging things to do. And something that I still work on this day is like not being concerned about the judgment of others. Literally just living out the purpose that and your reason why of your impact and why you're on this earth and what you believe that is, because you're not going to be able to be everything for everyone, but you're going to be something for someone, you know. And once that's aligned and you really get closer to not worrying about that, you'll go and accomplish most anything, and fear will never be something that holds you back.
And I'll just add one more thing to that. One of the ways that I think of it too is I call it shifting fears. So I get to the point where I'm more afraid of what happens if I don't take this step. What happens if I know I'm supposed to do something and I don't? Not only what am I missing out for the growth in my personal life, but who am I? There's got to be somebody that is supposed to be impacted with me saying yes and just going in. So it's not just that I'm giving something up for me, I'm also giving up on the opportunity for whatever it is I'm supposed to learn or have so that I can give to them. So you know, it's those ripple effects, because when we've gone through stuff, then we have these tools and things that we can share with others so that they can get through it too. So if I don't do it, it's not just a disservice to me, it's a disservice to those people that God puts in my life that I'm supposed to be able to help. And if I said no and was disobedient and didn't go through something, I don't have what I need to actually be able to help them.
And I'll take this, you know, even a step further. Like this next chapter of my life is one of the scariest chapters of my life, because I had spent decades going through healing, but to then actually have to resurface everything has been very, very challenging. And so I use a lot of the tools that I use have to do with visualization and making sure that the whys are big enough that I can continue getting to where it is that I'm going to go. So when I think about it, I think of a big visualization, and it's going, okay, at the end of my life, when it's my last breath and I got to stand in front of him, gosh, the thought of going, man, I gave you so many opportunities to do this and so many blessings, and you fell short when you had all of this. Like, I can't even fathom that. And so I will push myself to places that are very, very uncomfortable, knowing that I'm essentially trying to fulfill the purpose that he has for me. And a lot of those things are the most challenging things we have to go through.
Perfect.
Good stuff. Anybody else?
Ricky said skydiving.
Well, you know what that means, Ricky. We're pushing you out of the plane.
He's been jumping out of planes.
Hey, I used to do that for a living. I'll help you.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
Look at that.
She did.
Oh boy.
And we got a couple more questions. If you want to, we want to respect you guys' time. You know, if you guys have any other questions, this is a safe place. Just, you know, ask, and we'd love to help you out.
We'll give you. I'm scrolling through looking at you guys.
Oh man, some of these people have like a really deep connection, like Mark Swanson, who's there. He's being quiet, but his transformation and just like seeing that man transform after he retired and what it did for his life. And I remember like when we talked about the power of visualization, I was like, dude, you're gonna have abs one day, dude. And he's over 60 years old, and he's like, what abs at over 60? I'm like, dude, you're gonna be flexing and all sorts of stuff. And I like one of my favorite days. I love the journey of transformation, but one of my very favorite days is like going, remember when I told you that? And that last day, and we have this photo shoot, and like, dude, I mean, he was high as a kite, and and it's been a long time since his transformation, and he's still living it, and that it's such a powerful thing. And so when I look at each of you guys in your lives, like, just think about the opportunity that you have. I wrote a story today about a guy named Wally that reminded me of Travis Just, and you guys that know our connection with Trav. And this man was just like, I was like, dude, you remind me so much of this guy. And what it reminded me of was like, man, we have this amazing opportunity every single day with complete strangers to just tell them how beautiful they are, in a non-creepy way, like a very passionate, careful way. And what it can do to shift their lives automatically. You don't know if they're going through suicidal thoughts, dark thoughts, and just like one stranger just going, oh my gosh, that was an angel sent to me at a time I needed it so bad.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, if there's no questions, does anybody have a golden nugget that they got out of this time? Just something that really spoke to them. If anybody feels like they'd like to just share like one little takeaway.
Actually, I'd have to say that everything that was spoken about is basically a testament that I went through in life. And it's just, I found ever since my transformation, I've just been leveling up like an eagle. So everything that you spoke of just reaffirms, like, I have an autoimmune condition. In the last stages, there is no cure. I have spinal fusion. I have pain every single day. But I've learned to look at that and go, gosh, someone with stage 4 ankylosing spondylitis, most of them are in wheelchairs, or they can't get up and walk, or they're not straight at all. But I have this day, this time, this moment to be able to move. And movement's been life. Like, during my transformation, I was even told by doctors, no, it's not possible for you to have abs. No, it's not possible for you to do this. But for you both to believe in me, to help me believe in myself, was that catalyst. My relationships got better with my children. I'm a single parent of 2 children. I fell in love with working out. I do wake up early. I'm in my garage at 3 in the morning, 5 to 6 days a week, and haven't stopped. And I have been my top performer in my employment every single year since my transformation journey. So thank you so much.
And I'm so incredible. Like, I'm so glad you spoke up and shared, because your story, I know it's so amazing. And just for me to be able to see that transformation happen, and your perseverance through all of this stuff. And it was like all these doctors telling you like, oh, it can't be done. And then you guys got it. I'll have to look up her transformation and share her pictures. Like, abs, she got the abs. I mean, and just,
I'll be honest with you, I even used to walk with a cane. So I was coming from that. So I was overweight and walking with a cane to being able to throw that cane away, even though I do have a limp. I don't use my cane anymore because I don't need it. And I've been happy, like super happy ever since.
I mean, dude, thank you so much for sharing this story. And I'm thankful that this is a safe enough place for you to share that. But think about that, folks. Like, what are the things that you feel like are limiting you? And it really is a choice every single day, and Paula decided not to be in bondage of anything. You know what? Every day that I have an opportunity to wake up and be my best, I'm going to be, and you're living proof of it. And how freaking inspirational this is. and what a light to the world you are. I mean, I've been watching your little thumbnail because we see all the little thumbnails, and all I see is these like really bright white teeth, and I'm like, man, like she's living life. And just thank you.
Well, and I'll just say Paula's story is really actually a perfect one for leaning in and leveling up. It truly is actually, man, I would love you to just be able to share that story at some point on a bigger stage too, because it was painful. Like, and there was a lot of times where it was like, you know, she would do what she could do in that week, but you know, sometimes her body retaliated, and you know, and every week it was still this positive mindset of like, she still would do what she could do, and then when she felt better, then she would just keep digging into it. So it was not, most people in her situation, like she said, would be in a wheelchair and would not go through that pain, but because she was willing to lean into that and build the strength with literally the tools that we've been talking about, it's like, it's been just such a game changer for you to just be able to do so much more in life. That, I mean, I would say probably the majority of people, I mean, what percentage of people that have what you have, what, like, it's
What people that don't
That
have
don't.
what she has that
Yeah.
aren't taking advantage of
Yeah.
it. Like,
yeah.
it's really, it's a rare thing. And I think, you know, just like my own journey and her journey, like, you saw something that started helping you, and you started realizing, and it was one day at a time, one choice at a time. And those choices started getting better. And then you're starting to say, and that, I mean, think of that freedom of like just literally throwing a cane and being like, dude, I'm done. Yeah, I still got a little bit of scar tissue here, and I got a little bit of a limp, but I'm going forward. I'm pressing forward. I'm going through this storm, and I'm gonna dominate and slay this day.
That's awesome.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Paula, I just want you to know that there's someone in Missouri who's going to be praying for you big time.
Oh,
I'm getting all choked up. I don't even know you, but thank you so much. And you know, my husband saw a sign today, and it said, "You only live once, right?" And it said, "Wrong. You only die once. You live every day." And that's what we should do. And thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, thank you, Charlotte. Thank you for that.
and I know Jason Leclerc's on here. What an amazing story. I got the opportunity, me and Diana got the opportunity to meet him, and what a story of just not having a whole lot of support around him, and him having to make the choice at 400 pounds to go, do I want to live or do I want to die? You know, and the guy started living, and he started making some choices, and it was hard and it hurt to get through that, but he put a lot of damage on his body to begin with, and we had to kind of rebuild the body, break it down and build it back up. And you know, 120 pounds down, and he has a big goal. I think he's gonna end up coming to the retreat, hopefully, and being a part of that. And you know, we'll just pour on him, but what a beautiful soul he is. And I know a lot of these people's stories that are on the Zoom tonight, and gosh, man, I'm just super proud of all of you guys. Anthony, I know you're starting your journey, but what you'll see in he actually asked a question.
Go ahead, unmute yourself, Anthony.
Hi, it's not so much a question. First of all, like Tisha said, public speaking is one of my biggest fears. So me doing this right now is trying to face those fears. However, I had to speak up because Paula, wow. I mean, seriously, wow. You are such an inspiration. And like Micah said, Diana said, that message needs to go out to a wider audience. But I'm new to the group, and I cannot believe how much I've been moved just within this hour or so. By the way, you're eating into my cardio time. Do you realize that? I should be doing that now.
Well, you in an emotional state actually burns more calories, so we're doing pretty good. We'll make up for it.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, I just had to speak up because Paula, that was such a touching, motivational thing to hear. I don't even know you. Like Charlotte said, I don't know you, but wow, you really reached me, and I have so many more advantages than you. Sorry, and I don't mean that to sound judgmental, but you know, in terms of where my body's at right now, and yeah, it was just so powerful. I just needed to speak up. So thank you, and thank you to the rest of the group for giving me the safety to be able to face this fear.
Well, we're going to do more of that, my friend.
Yes, you did it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Anybody else real quick? We'll probably wrap this up here. But anybody else have just like one? Let's do one more. If anybody's got a little nugget that they'd like to share. Who's got one? Jess, you gotta have something.
Mark said the thing that resonates with me is a lifestyle, make it a good one.
Yeah.
Like lifestyle is so important. And I think a lot of people, most people, when they think about the difference between like, oh, well, I can go work out, but man, I'm having problems with food, right? Like 99% of people who reach out to us, like I work out, but you know, food is my struggle and whatnot. And it's like, but food is the fuel to the vehicle that then has you operate at the level that you're operating physically, but also mentally. It is like the game changer. So once that relationship with food gets on point, not that you can't have a cheat meal from time to time, but like cheat meals are not controlling you anymore, then you have true freedom. You're no longer in bondage of this thing that is literally hindering you from being your best self.
Yeah, it's good.
Actually, Micah, can I just say one thing? I think I ought to do this public speaking more. My heart is racing so fast. I think I've done a set.
It's like
See, you're burning about 12 calories a minute right now, and you're just sitting still.
You just do that instead of cardio. Jess, what do you got?
I love everything you guys are saying, and I think especially the pillars. Thinking about that each of those can be applied to the pillars of like leaning in and then fumbling, like we're going to fumble in each pillar, and then we can be able to have tools for each pillar, and that there are different tools, and finding the tools that really fit, and that sometimes it even may take a while, and we'll fumble in that as well to figure out, okay, is it this tool, is it that tool? Okay, maybe this worked at one point in my life, but a different tool is going to work at a different point in my life. And so those foundation of pillars to really be able to reflect on our own lives and take accountability and to be honest with ourselves. You guys preaching that's at a core of it, and then those bonuses. It was all amazing, and appreciate you guys so much in so many ways.
We love you very much.
you.
Yeah, we do miss you a lot.
So,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's just really powerful stuff. Well, I just want to say, I will just say thank you, all of you, for hopping on here. Like we said, we'd love to see you guys come out to the conference, if you can make it, and just be with us for that experience time. We intentionally planned that conference for that tail end of January, because statistically, it is the time of year when people, New Year's, people are all, oh, I'm going to do these new things in my life this year. And by the third week of January, the majority of people have completely forgotten and let all of those things, those exciting things that they were going to do, those changes they were going to make, they've been put to the wayside. And so it's why we intentionally put it at that time of the year, because it's like, no, like, let's actually like dig into this stuff and get to the roots and use the right tools so that we can actually get to our best life and actually have those breakthroughs that we need. And so again, we just come out if you guys can. We would love it. And the coupon code is PURPOSE, PURPOSE, and that will give $175 off of any of those ticket levels if you guys can join us. And I'll send out an email to you guys too, but the website is Soul Fit Retreats, and you'll find all the links there. And
so I think going forward, every Wednesday, we're going to have a webinar, and what we're going to do leading up is a similar type of flow, but we're going to bring some of the speakers on so you guys get to know these folks. Because I mean, they're, what happened tonight will continue happening, because this circle of people that we have is a serve first type of person, where their entire goal is going, hey man, I went through a lot of hard stuff. I'm here to help lift you up and share with you. And that's the community that we are building. And we want to build this community that's always safe, but always about helping people break down to build back up. And we've done that in Hitch Fit for many years, but this next stage of our life is even more impactful. It's deeper.
Yep. All right, you guys. Good work, people.
Go get your cardio in, your protein. Make good
Go
choices.
get cardio. Make good choices.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys all again soon. Good
Thanks
night.
for hosting the webinar.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.